All right, everybody, welcome to our latest weekly segment we're bringing to you to help you out with your college fantasy football decision making. We're going into week 3, and we've decided to add an audio version to our best and worst performer predictions for the week. Like I said, we're going into week 3, and we're using the year to date top 12 for the tight ends and the quarterbacks. We're using the top 16 for the running backs and wide receivers, and we're letting you know from those lists who we think will have the best and worst weeks, so you can help make you some start and sit decisions, also help you out possibly with some of your daily fantasy decisions and who to put on your roster, who not to put on your roster. I've got my partner Willie B here. Willie, say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's up, fans?
All right, and we are the duo that produces CFF lists. You can check us out on Instagram at College Fantasy Football. You can check us out on Twitter at CFF lists. And without further ado, we will talk you through our picks for the best and the worst, beginning with the tight ends. Um, I'm going to begin this with my picks and try to give you all of the thoughts along the way. I'm going to start with my worst, which is a combination of him being a little bit banged up and also because of his opponent. I'm going to put the red X through Dalvin Smith. Again, it's not cheating. We're here to guide you through who you might not want to play this week, whether it's because of injury, a tough opponent, suspension, or otherwise. And again, Dalvin Smith, from what we've seen, is a little bit banged up. He's also playing against Ohio State. So I think Dalvin Smith needs to stay on the bench this week for anybody that's got him. As far as my prediction for top performer, taking a look here, we've got a couple of options at the top that I just think might not play in enough of their games. Urasek looks great against Sacramento State. Dabney kind of let us down last week, so I'm not even sure if he's going to be a consistent threat. So looking at this, I think I'm going to go with Jatavian Sanders versus Wyoming as my pick for top tight end. I like the matchup. According to Fantrax, Wyoming's only 67th against tight ends when it comes to, what they're allowing in fantasy production. Jatavian looked great against Alabama. If he can do it against Alabama the way he did it, I expect, even bigger things against a team like Wyoming. So I'm going to go with Sanders as my best tight end this week, Dalvin Smith as the worst.
Um, I I'm going to go with my worst pick here. Um, I take that back. I'm going to go with my best pick. Give me my best pick. We're going to go Dallin Holker.
All right.
He has a good matchup. Should be Colorado gives up a lot of points. This probably won't be as high scoring as it has been, but I like what he's put on tape so far. They had the bye week last week, so we're gonna go Dallin Holker. As far as the one I do not want this week, and there are a few options here, but we're going to we're going to take Isaac Rex.
Okay, interesting.
Have the Arkansas defense. One thing Jeremy and I did, J Mill and I did discuss was the Fantrax versus position. Doesn't always correlate to the team's rushing or passing defense per se. So those you do have to look at a little bit. So I'm just gonna take a chance here and say that it's Isaac Rex that's going to be the lowest of this group.
Okay, so you're thinking the Arkansas defense is going to shut him down, and
Not
I
not
agree.
not shut him down, but in relation to all of the, I mean, there's some decent tight ends on this list. So
Right, I hear you. Yeah, and he has been inconsistent his last 3 years. So he had a bad week 1 and a good week 2. So we'll see what kind of Isaac Rex we're going to have for the season. I think this year, this week.
all right, so let's
So
let's move on up to wide receivers.
all right. Well, I started on the tight ends. We'll let you go first for the wide receivers.
All right, so I was thinking about this yesterday. He's just been balling out, so I'm just going to go with him. We're going to go with Rome.
Yeah, yeah. He hasn't done anything wrong. Well, I guess Polk's been taking some of his shine, but he's definitely done what we thought he would do. He's number 5 through 2 weeks.
Hmm. And then, the one that I do not like would be the most this week. I'm gonna go Terrell Vaughn. I like the Air Force defense. They
Hmm.
they just don't allow a lot of points. So I mean, so choosing from this great list of wide receivers, we're gonna go Terrell Vaughn. I'm gonna stay away from this week.
All right, which I think is an interesting pick because we've seen a few people post this week about the fact that Terrell Vaughn has the most targets in the NCAA right now. I think it's like 28 or something like that, more than 12 a game. So you're saying Air Force will be able to contain him,
Well, I mean, that's the old Belichick thing. Take away what they you take away the one thing they do best. So I mean, that
and make him
if
beat
he's
some
the
other
guy,
way.
yeah, yeah, make
Right.
somebody else beat
Okay.
him. So we'll
All
see.
right. I hear you. For me, I'm gonna go with a guy who I think every other week, as far as let me say this, my worst pick or the player I predict with the worst performance, I'm gonna go with Xavier Leggett or Leggett. Um, I think any other week after this, he's probably worth picking up and having on your team if you don't have him. But I think against Georgia's defense, which against receivers, according to Fantrax, is fourth against wide receivers, you just don't want to play around and put him in the game this week. They're also 14th overall against the pass, so that's a real deal defense he's going against there with Georgia. I'm not putting him in the lineup. As far as my best, I would love to go with Lincoln Victor against North Colorado, but I tend to get a little nervous when teams are playing the cream puffs like that, and I'm worried he won't get enough in the one half that he might play to satisfy me. So I'm going to go with everybody's shiny new favorite, Larvadane, and let's see what Gage can do if he can keep it up. He's got 24 targets, which came from 12 in week 1 and 12 in week 2. He's last week's top scorer overall in CFF, so I'll go with Gage Larvadane against Cincinnati. Even though they might have, a fairly good defense, I'm not worried about that with the volume that he's getting. Um, and overall, Cincinnati's 42nd in pass D, so it's not like they're a top 20 pass D, and I think they're going to still feed him the ball.
Yeah, you probably can't go wrong with one of the waiver wire gems of the week. A lot of money been spent on him this week.
Exactly. A lot of people's budgets have been blown on Larvadane this week.
All right, so we're going to go up to running backs next. I believe I'm going to go first this time.
Oh no, you just went first on the
Oh,
receiver, so
you
I'm
just
going
went
to go
first.
first.
Great, great, even
Yeah,
better, even better. Good.
yeah. Um, well, let's see. Looking at this, I love what I see right at the top with the guy who's produced consistently in 2 weeks with Carroll playing against Charlotte. Let me just take a quick glance. Again, Ginty, I'm not sure I want to put him in against the FCS team because he may not get enough opportunities. Rasheen Ali is on a bye. So I think I'm going to go with Carroll as my top choice again. Again, we're trying to find guys that are going to finish in the top 3 out of this group of 16. For clarification's sake, Willie, are we going to allow ourselves to pick guys that are on a bye? My vote is we don't. Like Ali would not be eligible, and to
No,
pick because he
I
was
agree.
okay. So
That's the coward's way out if we do
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
So
yeah, I hear you. With that being
that's
said,
different. That's different than an injury. So
right, exactly. Because we're at least we're bringing somebody's awareness to the fact that somebody's hurt or may not play if they're injured. Worst play. Um, I think he's done really well. He hasn't had a ton of volume, and he's scored really well. Obviously, he's in the top 15 here or 16. I'm going to go worst performance out of this group with Travion Cooley. Um, I don't think he's going to go 3 for 3 in terms of scoring touchdowns. And Ole Miss's run defense has been pretty stout. So I'm throwing Cooley on the bench this week out of this group.
okay, so and we probably should have talked about that. I know we talked about it a little bit last year, but I think
Uh,
we are going to say that sometimes we will agree on certain things.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. We may have the same picks, which should give you more confidence in whatever decision we're making if we're both picking the same player to be the best or the worst. But that is legal. This is a contest. We're doing scoring based on how these guys finish. If I pick a guy to be best and he finishes first, I'm getting 3 points. If he finishes second, I'm getting 2 points. If he finishes third, I'm getting one. And it's the opposite for the worst. If they finish last and I picked them to be last, I'm getting 3 points, and so forth and so on. So,
Right.
um,
So
yeah. So go ahead.
with that, I'm in agreement that Cooley is the one not to play this week, and so that's where I was going as far as that's concerned.
Right, right.
Um, the, I mean, these backs have a lot of great matchups. I mean, there should be high points from the running back position this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at that
But
too. There are a lot of good choices for best performance here. It looks like almost every running back on this list should have a really good week 3 outside of Cooley, to be honest.
mhm. um, I will say I think the only reason why I'm not going to go with Amari and Hampton is Minnesota. They like to run also. I just don't want the clock to run out too fast on the kids. So I'm going to go with Ashton Genty. They got North Dakota this week. Um, I would think that with Boise, it shouldn't be a situation where he's going to be out at halftime. Boise
Right.
still has a lot of things to work out, especially in that quarterback room. But we're going to go Ashton Genty. That's my
All right.
best of the week.
All right. I'm not sure he's going to get enough carries, but we'll find out. That's why we do this, so we can see who's right
Yep.
and who's wrong.
All right. So lastly, we go up to our quarterbacks.
Yep. And this will be you kicking us off.
Yeah. Great group here. Man, there's going to be just a few blowouts, I believe. Um, I think, well, actually, we're going to have to say Byron Brown is going to be my one to not play this week.
Okay.
They have Alabama, who should
Yeah.
be
Yeah, that one
if
makes
they're
sense.
not if they're not here, if you ain't ready to play this week, yeah, that save and run may be over as far as them and their dynasty per se. But
Yeah, which I
um,
will add. The interesting note there is Alabama's 105th in fantasy against points given up to quarterbacks and 90th overall in passing defense in yards allowed. But I do have to say, yeah, if they can't stop USF, then something's even more wrong in Alabama than people are,
exactly.
people
I
that
mean,
the opinion of the wrong think it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Good call.
We're going to go Michael Penix. That
Yep.
offense is humming. So I believe that what he's averaging 34 points a game.
Hmm.
Um, and they are going on the road, but that doesn't matter to me. I predict him to still 350 yards. Hell, he's thrown for 450 and 409, so he
Right.
should be good for 350 this week. So we're going to go
All
Michael
right.
Penix Jr.
I was just looking. Mississippi State is 87th against the pass. What's it say they are against quarterbacks? It looks like they're a little better, but in general, they're still 87th against the pass. So Penix should have a big one. I agree.
Yes, it's showing. Yeah, it's showing like 22nd. But like I say, these Fantrax numbers can be a little deceiving, and so you have to
Right.
kind of dig a little deeper
Yeah, we always like to
if you're looking
cross-reference
at
with kind of the
defenses.
overall team D stats, versus the pass and the run. Um, Looking at quarterbacks for me, I'm kind of debating between, Austin Reed against Ohio State, just because of how tough they are against the pass. They're sixth in total pass defense, fourth, against quarterbacks in fantasy. But Michael Pratt he's practiced but limited. He still might be banged up and may miss the entire game.
Mm,
Um, if he
good
gets
one.
in, though, I am worried because he could play well against Southern Mississippi. So I've got a tough choice here. I think I'm gonna go, kind of gonna bet on the fact that Pratt might not play again, or if he does, they'll be real careful with him. So I'm gonna put my worst pick on Pratt because of the injury concerns more than the opponent. Although there is a chance he might play, so that's one to keep an eye on, as it gets close to game time. As far as best performance, Tyler Shuck is in that group I don't like, having to predict if he's going to stay in the game long against Tarleton State. I'm not going to go there. Um, Wegman has looked pretty phenomenal for A&M with the Petrino offense. Creating some fantasy opportunities. It hasn't produced necessarily what they wanted in the game outcome against Miami last week, but I do like what Wegman's been doing. Uh, yeah, so you know what? I'm going to put my money on Wegman this week. They're going to be looking to bounce back and get some frustration out of their system against Louisiana Monroe. So that's my guy there. I do like Delora versus UTEP, but I think I'm going to go Wegman, ahead of him just a little bit.
All right, I like that. Can't go wrong with guys scoring 31 points a game. And that's what you have to understand. This top 12 or top 16 list, depending on the position, will fluctuate on our lists because, like I said, we're bringing the top guys who are performing. So you have to strike where the iron's hot on some of these. So I
Right.
really like that though. That should be a shootout for him for
Right.
sure.
So with that, everybody, again, this is a new segment that we'll be tightening up each week, trying to figure out ways to just bring you more tidbits and information that can help you in your weekly decisions. If you missed our waiver watch draft, you can find that on the social media accounts on Instagram at College Fantasy Football and on Twitter at CFF Lists. So you can get four quarterbacks, eight receivers, eight running backs, and four tight ends that you might still be able to pick up as your waiver pickups to help you in week 3. And hopefully, this will give you a little bit more insight as to who you may or may not want to play in week 3 to help you get that W again. And with that, I'm out. Willie B, any final words?
No, good luck to everyone this weekend.